Welcome everyone to NoDQ&A video here on NoDQ.com. I am the owner of NoDQ, Aaron Rift, here to answer your questions regarding the world of professional wrestling. So let's get right down to it. Hey Aaron, if The Rock and John Cena wrestle each other again after WrestleMania, do you think they will have a best of 5 series going? Well, the rumor going around was that they might have 3 matches next year, possibly one at the pay-per-view after WrestleMania, and then at SummerSlam. I do not think they're going to do as many as 5 matches. I think that's a little overboard. I think 3 would be just fine. You know, do the one WrestleMania match, then the rematch, and then the rubber match to see who wins the 2 out of 3. I think that's the way to go if they decide to do multiple matches. If Mick Foley did face Undertaker, which face would you like to see Foley portray? Maybe Mankind gets bloody, loses the mask, and he ends as Cactus Jack. Do you think there would be a barbed wire, 2x4, and thumbtacks if it was no DQ, even in the PG era? Well, I would just like to see Mick Foley be Mick Foley. Let him use all of his personas for one match. Even let him hype that up in the match with the Undertaker. Have him come out and say, "I'm gonna bring all my characters to WrestleMania, and you're gonna get everything. You're gonna get Cactus Jack. You're gonna get Dude Love. You're gonna get Mankind." As far as what type of weapons they might use, I think they'll use chairs. They'll use the wiring outside. Maybe do a little bit of choking, even though it's PG. But I would be surprised if they would go as far as to use the thumbtacks. But you never know. They might pull something out for WrestleMania, and then maybe they'll find Mick Foley after the pay-per-view saying he wasn't supposed to do that. He did that without our permission. So we'll see. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on Chris Jericho and his WCW days? Chris Jericho was great. I mean, he was always a really entertaining performer, and he started to shine in WCW. That's when he first got noticed on a national stage. And yeah, I mean, he was always a great babyface wrestler, but it wasn't until he turned heel that people really began to take notice. And yeah, I love the whole deal with Ralphus with his security guard and the Greenberg Goldberg storyline. Yeah, just really funny stuff, and Jericho is always extremely entertaining. Hey Aaron, what is your favorite Piper's Pit moment? Well, nothing can top the coconut being smashed over Jimmy Snuka's head. I think that's the one everyone's always going to remember the most. Another one that stands out to me was the build for WrestleMania 3 with Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. Andre ripping the crucifix off Hogan's neck and challenging him for WrestleMania 3. That one always stands out. And of course, WrestleMania 21, I was there with Steve Austin and Roddy Piper. Great stuff. Speaking of Austin, what's your all-time favorite Stone Cold moment? One of mine would have to be when he rescued Stephanie from The Undertaker, as well as when he ran out and stunned the Alliance. As soon as his music hit, you knew something incredible was going to go down. My favorite Austin moments would have to involve Vince McMahon. I remember when he attacked Vince in the hospital, bedpan McMahon. He hit him over the head with a bedpan and started pounding on his foot. And when he came out on the Zamboni and attacked Vince, when he brought the beer truck out and sprayed Vince in the Rock. Just so many moments with Austin. When he beat up Booker T in the supermarket. It's hard to name just one thing. I could probably name 10 of them, but that would take up all the time of the show today. So yeah, those ones at the top of my list. It seems everyone thinks CM Punk or Chris Jericho or maybe Mick Foley will challenge Undertaker WrestleMania 28. Do you think it's possible that Alberto Del Rio could face Undertaker? Do you think he could be believable to end the streak? I think it's possible he could face Undertaker. Is he believable? Not really. At this point, there's only very few people that I think fans could believe might end the Undertaker's winning streak at WrestleMania. And Alberto Del Rio is not going to be one of them. If Bret Hart wouldn't have went to WCW, where do you think his career would have ended up? Well, that's an interesting question because I'm not sure if Bret Hart was destined to stay with WWE. He was really becoming disenfranchised with the product. He was not a fan of WWE, becoming really edgy and all that, and he was very critical about the way they were going. So, yeah, would have been interested if he had stuck around. Now, would Owen Hart have lived? I mean, there's so many questions that will never be answered if Bret Hart had stayed with WWE. So there's no way to really know for sure what would have happened. Probably wouldn't have gotten a concussion, but you never know. Hey Aaron, will there ever be a new replacement soon for the WWE spinner belt? I really see the spinner as a less prestigious belt and crap. Your thoughts? Well, I thought they were going to change the belt out when they did the whole storyline with CM Punk leaving with the WWE title and then crowning a new champion. That would have been the perfect time to introduce a new belt, but they didn't do it. Now, why is this the case? My thoughts are that that belt sells a lot. You know, people buy the belt, the replica belt, and it's really popular, and they just don't want to change it because of that. Now, hopefully, eventually, they'll do something new. I'm sure they will down the line. And just, I guess, when they feel that the time is right, and I guess now wasn't the time. Do you think it's okay that WWE can continually put out pathetic storylines, etc., just because they have no major competition? Well, it's unfortunate for us, the fans, but for them, you know, there's no need to, you know, really take risks and do something different. They're just going to run on cruise control as long as they can. As long as they're making money, that's what counts, unfortunately. Yeah, it'd be nice for them to do something different, but just, you know, there's nobody breathing down their neck forcing them to do something. Hey, Aaron, what's your opinion on wrestling not being cool? Well, I have no problem with it because, you know, I'm not in high school. I don't have to interact with kids. And, you know, it was hard when you were like, when I was like in middle school and being a wrestling fan, you know, you get picked on and, you know, it's just not the cool thing. In high school, for me, that was when wrestling was getting popular. So it was actually okay. Like I remember during the PA in the morning announcements, somebody would do The Rock's catchphrases. So that was a sign that wrestling was cool. Then it was okay to be a wrestling fan and wear a wrestling T-shirt to school or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of hard if you're a kid. If you're an adult, then, you know, who cares? Nobody cares if you watch wrestling or not. What's the cat called? Ernest Miller. Oh, no, you're talking about my cat. Sassy. Sassy's the white one. Casey's the gray one. YouTube.com/The Diaries. They'd love to see you check them out. Zack Ryder's videos get more than 100,000 views. If every person who watched his video bought a T-shirt, would he be world champion? Well, if things were the way they were according to Triple H, he would be world champion, right? Once a guy is over, then there's nothing stopping him, right? So it makes no sense. Triple H. That was one thing that about Raw this past week that I really wasn't crazy about, was when he said that line. It's like, okay, if that's the case, then Zack Ryder should be a top guy right now. He's over. He got over. Why is he not on Raw? I mean, it was stupid. Yeah. All right, that about does it for NoDQ&A video. Thank you very much for checking out the show. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/NoDQ&AV. Please leave a comment on the YouTube channel. Let me know what you thought about today's episode. Did you agree with me? Did you disagree? I want to hear what your thoughts are. And that about does it. We'll see you next time for NoDQ&A video.